Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Testing the volume here. Can everyone hear me? Hello. Welcome back. This is another episode of Real Talk with Mary Grace. It is Monday, the 26th of October, 2020. This is not a test. This is a live broadcast. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am broadcasting on a couple of different platforms today. So if you are here with me on YouTube or Facebook or CloutHub, welcome. I'm seeing chat right now from Periscope. I'm hoping to see some people jump in on these other platforms, and please share and invite followers and copy the link and share it with other people as you are watching me. So a little blurry. I don't know why it's blurry. Hold on a second. We'll see. Is that better? I don't know. Don't know. But here we are. We are using we're using some new technology for me. And okay, Delia's going to go and check on the other devices. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I did a practice run the other night. I'm Mary Grace, by the way, so welcome. Good to see everybody here. I did a practice run the other day, and I was live on YouTube, and I was live on Periscope, and I was live on my personal Facebook profile. I'm hoping that I'm live on my Mary Grace Media page today on Facebook. I think I fixed that. And I'm hoping I'm live on CloutHub, but I might need some help from my friend Greg to troubleshoot that. I'm just not sure if it is working. So in any case, I'm glad you are all here. I am happy to be live streaming on multiple platforms, and I'm very glad to have you guys as my followers and audience and interacting, and it's all pretty exciting to me and it's new. So I really appreciate your patience. I'm looking at the chat in a different window now. So there's little things that I'm learning to do. And so I appreciate that, everybody. I'm a little bit off my game, you know. But thank you, everybody, for sharing the show. Make sure that you're subscribing on all of these platforms. So it's Mary Grace Media on YouTube, CloutHub, that's CLOUT, CloutHub, Facebook, and Periscope and Twitter. So please turn on your notifications, set your alarm. I do my show live on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday of every weekday at 5 Eastern. And I can't tell if I'm live on the other platforms right now. At some point, I'm going to have a producer that's going to help me orchestrate all of this, and we'll get there. So thank you guys, everybody. The other thing too is that you should be able to watch my show on my website once we get the CloutHub link sorted out. So there's an embedded link for CloutHub on my website, which is pretty exciting. That means that you don't have to worry about getting kicked off of a certain platform or streaming on a certain platform. You can go and watch those replays on my website, marygracemedia.com. So pretty cool. Now, oh, I can see that I'm live. Okay, that's perfect. It looks like the title is the same though. I don't know how to change it. I'll have to go back and change my title at some point. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so let's get into the content here. I have given you guys the basics. I do have some trolls in the chat, so moderators, if you can help me with that, that would be great. And it's good to be here. All right, so let's get into the content for today. I'm going to go back and modify my title for today. I forgot to do that. So thank you guys for being patient. Let's talk about the election a little bit. I want to talk about the numbers in the election, and I want to talk about some of the things that the media is doing to sort of distract you from what's really happening and to keep you from voting. One of the things that we see a lot are we see what we call fake polls or suppression polls. And a lot of you understand this, but some of you still get a little bit rattled by it and a little bit shaken. And so I really want to encourage you today to understand and to be at peace about what's happening and to learn how to look deeper into the data. And so I'm going to give you an example of kind of what we see. So when you look at polls across the board, you will see that the mainstream media is reporting that Biden is up in every poll all over the place, that he's up by double digits. And the fact is that's just not true. And so how do we know? How do we get an idea of what's going on? Well, there's a couple of places that I recommend you go. One of those is that you follow Larry Schweikert on Twitter. Another good person is Bill Mitchell. But the other thing that I want you to do is just start using a little bit of common sense. What do I mean by that? Just look at what's happening on the ground, because when you look at the president's rallies, when you look at the number of people who are going out and voting, that if you look at all of that, you can just see logically that it doesn't even make sense that Biden would be up by even 2 points in most places. Now, one thing to remember is that he's going to be up in some places that are deep blue areas. That's just the nature of the beast. But in general, if you are following, some of the accounts that are giving you these updates about early voting, about statistics, and especially comparisons. So that's one thing to keep an eye on too. Now, I'm not an election expert, but I have kind of dived into the numbers a little bit. And so one example is that when you go back and look at the voting numbers from 2016, for example, when you go back and look at the numbers from 2016, if you go to fec.gov or if you just Google 2016 voting totals, okay, you'll go to, for example, Politico. Politico is actually pretty good for election reporting. You can see on a state-by-state basis and even on a county-by-county basis how many people actually voted in a certain area. And so I'm going to give you an example. I went on Politico and I looked at their numbers from 2016. And I saw in Broward County that they had a total of almost 547,000 votes for Hillary Clinton, and then 258,000 for Trump. Now, why does that matter? Why does it matter that, that I'm looking at those numbers? So if you look at a number like that, and then you start to look at the numbers of sort of who's voting early and how many people are voting early in specific counties right now, you can sort of do the math and figure out that percentage-wise, that on a relative scale, we're seeing more Republicans turn out in that county now than they did in 2016. Do you see what I'm saying? So you can sort of like read between the tea leaves and deduce that the president has more momentum and more turnout in a certain area if you go back and look at numbers from the past. Another example is to take a look at where the different campaigns are actually putting their energy and their focus. What do I mean by that? So for example, over the weekend, the Democrats had Hussein down in Miami campaigning. Now think about this. If you look at the numbers of the turnout that Hillary Clinton had in Miami-Dade in 2016, it doesn't even make sense that they would be campaigning in Miami-Dade. Why? Because she won by such a huge margin there that they shouldn't even be worried about Miami-Dade because it's traditionally blue. It's like people will vote blue down the ticket in that county. It's just like some of the areas in New York. For example, the district where AOC is Congresswoman, Hillary Clinton got about 70% of the vote in that district in 2016. And so even though there are people who are challenging her in that district, it's not really viable to expect that a Republican will beat her in that district. Does that make sense? I'm talking about AOC. Like when you really do the math and you figure out that, there was a 70% turnout for Hillary in that district in 2016, it's not that reasonable to expect that you'll have that much of a flip and you'll turn that district to a Republican district. And so when we see things like this happening in Miami-Dade right now, when we see them sending Hussein down there to campaign for them, it really is meaningful because it means that they are not expecting to have those wide margins, that they're worried about achieving those margins and that total domination in an area that they've dominated for a long, long time. So that's one of the things. I mean, hopefully you can start to see that and you can start to read between the lines and figure out, and if you pay attention to those types of things, then you're going to have a little bit more peace of mind about how the election is actually going. Are you guys tracking with me? Because I think it's helpful to be able to see things like that and to just use your powers of deduction to figure out, wait, this isn't normal for them to be sending their quote superstar into a deep blue area. Okay. I really personally feel like the president is going to win in a landslide. He is getting massive crowds everywhere he goes. He's drawing a crowd in places where he's not even announcing his appearance. Yesterday, he showed up at an apple orchard in Maine, and he had thousands of people there. It was completely unannounced. How does that? So how is it? So that's another thing to look at. How is it that they're telling us that the president is losing when he can bring a crowd like that? I mean, he's got so much momentum. And then let's look at the Biden campaign. There's something seriously wrong with the Biden campaign. The campaign is on life support, if that. I mean, we thought that Hillary Clinton ran a weak campaign in 2016. There's not even, there's like nothing happening for the Bidens. There's no momentum. There's no ground game. People are voting by mail, but they're not even voting in the numbers that they thought they should or would. Do you see what I mean? Somebody just made a comment and said that Trump is drawing crowds when he isn't even there. And that's true. That's a big indicator. Trump is drawing crowds at Biden rallies. Think about that. So anywhere that Biden or a Biden surrogate shows up, there are more people there for Trump than there are for Biden. Have you guys noticed that? They are just, they're lining the streets on the way to these events. And I think it's really interesting. Here's something too that I wanted to ask you guys about the Biden campaign. This is a theory that I have, and I'm not sure if it's right, but I keep wondering if the White Hats are in control of the Biden campaign. What do I mean by that? So there's two things that are happening. There's two possibilities of what's happening in the Biden campaign. One is that like they're hardly doing anything. So one is that, or actually there's three possibilities. One is that they know they've lost, and so they've completely given up campaigning. The second is that they're so confident of the steal that they don't feel like they need to campaign. The third is that White Hats are in control and they're sending them out to do these campaign events that are really humiliating. I mean, think about it. Think about this, because the when Hussein was in Miami the other day, he was doing this car rally, and this is a two-term president who had rock star status when he was campaigning and when he was running for office. And he's out there doing this car rally, and he is barely drawing a crowd. And every time he opens his mouth, the Trump supporters are drowning him out with their car horns. And you can tell that he's really rattled by what's happening. Did you notice that? So I and then the other thing that I think may be an indication that the White Hats are in charge is that when Joe or Kamala has an event, they're really small, and they have these crazy circles set up, and they have people just sitting there. They have like one chair distance from the rest, and it's like you can't even sit with your spouse. I mean, like, who goes to a rally by themselves? Wouldn't you go with your spouse? And so they have them separated. They have these little crazy, ridiculous folding chairs inside of a circle. And the other reason that I feel like it might be that they're under the control of the White Hats and they're being forced into these humiliating situations, the other reason I think that is when you listen to the president's rallies, the president keeps talking about the president keeps talking about the circles. Have you noticed that? He talks about how small the president's rallies are, and then he talks about the circles. He says, whoever's doing those circles, I would really like to meet them because they're doing such a great job. Those circles are impressive. They're bold, they're big, they're, really well made. Did you guys notice that? Like, he keeps saying that, and he brings it up every time. I feel like it's like, I think it's because, I don't know. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I do feel like the White Hats have taken over the Biden campaign, and that they're just putting them out there to humiliate themselves. Is that is that completely outside of the realm of possibility? Because who does that? I mean, the Democrats have been doing this for a long time. They've been running campaigns for a long time. And so, this isn't their first rodeo. And so, right? I mean, they're not new at campaigning. Right? I mean, this isn't their first rodeo. So, and then, for example, how in the world do you take somebody like Hussein, who has how do you take somebody like Hussein, who has been at this for years, who has a reputation to protect? Like, how do his people even allow him to be put in that situation? Because, for example, when somebody of his stature gets a public speaking engagement, they have a whole list of requirements that have to be met for them to even show up. Okay, so when you have a high profile individual like that, they have to have this, like, the stage has to be a certain way. They have a very specific requirement for the podium. They have to have, this kind of water. They have to have this kind of accommodation. They command a certain fee. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody that's ever run events or had speakers come to participate in their event, you know what I'm talking about. So, if I wanted to get, if I was running an event and I wanted to get, a big name person to come to my event, I would have to be able to accommodate everything on their speaker's requirements, right? A rider. Thank you. Yeah. Everybody has a rider. And so for Obama, to be out there doing this in that circumstance, it just seems really suspect to me. Like another example is that he was out there doing a sidewalk rally, and he looked like a panhandler. He had this little tiny bullhorn. It wasn't even a full size one. It was like a battery operated thing that it was like this big. Did you notice that? It's like, yeah, it's like they're being humiliated and put out there in those compromising situations intentionally. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And so that's what I think about the campaign. Now I want to move on to talk about what's actually happening with the scandal around the Bidens. And if you don't know what's going on at this point, I don't know what to tell you. There's a very damning laptop with a hard drive that has really shown that Biden is 100% compromised and that he's a national security risk. The president's been talking about it at his rallies. He has been it's been talked about for the past 5 or 6 days on Bannon's War Room. The media refuses to cover it. There's a huge firewall on social media. All of the links and stories having to do with this have been taken down, and it is it's quite frankly embarrassing for the press, because the fact that they keep denying it, that they keep saying that nothing is going on, makes people even more curious about what's happening. And for example, when Lesley Stahl did the interview with Trump, which was ridiculous in itself, she just completely denied that there was anything wrong with what's going on with Joe Biden. She just pretended that it didn't exist and wouldn't acknowledge when the president said that he's compromised. Did you guys notice that? And so here's something that I wanted to point out, just a couple of things. First of all, I said this on Twitter and I can't stress it enough, but please do not send me any links, anything, any websites, any videos, any links to anything, to any content or images that are supposedly from Hunter's laptop. If you do, I will block you. I do not want to be the recipient of anything from that laptop. I really want to be very clear about that. In fact, you shouldn't open anything either, because the contents of that laptop, a lot of it is illegal for anybody to possess. So if you're in, if you're getting emails or direct messages, or you're following sites that are showing images of children, you are actually breaking the law. It's illegal to be viewing or possessing child pornography. That's what this is. So I want to be very, very, very clear about that. Do not open it. Do not send it to anybody. Don't send it to me. I'm very serious about this. If you tag me in something, if you send me something in my inbox, if you send me something to my email, I will block you. I will delete and block you, because the stuff that we're talking about, I mean, this is criminal activity. And the concern that we have is for these children who have been victimized. That's a big concern. But I don't have any business looking at it, and you don't have any business looking at it. At this point, this is the reason that that Rudy Giuliani is turned the laptop over to the authorities in Delaware. Okay, somebody's saying, I don't think there's a single child in any of the pictures. I don't care. That's not my point. I don't want any of it. I don't want to be sent any links to anything that may or may not be porn. I just want to be very clear about that. That doesn't advance my message at all. Okay, the question, what if it's meant to help inform? There's nothing you can send me that would help inform me or help me inform the public about what's going on. And if you feel the need to do that, then I suggest you go elsewhere because I don't want anything from you that you feel would help me to inform my listeners better. That information is out there. Rudy Giuliani is getting the information out there. The people in Gateway Pundit, there are some good journalists out there. Chanel Rion from One American News is out there. And when you listen to Chanel and the way that she is discussing this, she is talking about how delicate a situation this is. She is choosing her words very carefully because as a journalist, she's seen enough of it to know that it is nothing that you want to have in your possession. I just want to be really clear about this, that there's not a single thing, not a single image on that laptop that I need to have possession of. So please don't send it to me. And I think that I can speak for the other broadcasters in my network as well. Do not send it. You're not helping. You're not doing anybody favors. If you send it, then I am going to assume that you have less than honorable intentions, and I'm going to block you. So I might have to say that again, but I'll say it as many times as I need to. I don't want it. Okay, now let me move on to the Bidens. So it turns out Gateway Pundit reported on this morning. They dropped an article with a text message exchange between Hunter Biden and the uncle and I think a couple of other family members talking about the fact that Hunter was engaged in what looks like incest with one of the children, which is horrible. And the thing about this that's so disturbing to me and so many people is that the dialogue that they were having is all about protecting Hunter, but not about protecting the child. To me, that's extremely disturbing on so many levels, because that should be reported immediately. That child should be in protective custody immediately when something like that's happening. But here's something on a bigger scale that I want you guys to understand is that when you talk about when the president talks about Joe Biden being compromised, this is we can't overstate this enough because think about this. You have somebody who's running for the president of the United States who would be negotiating and doing deals all around the world. This is a man who's not keeping his own house in order. This is a man who is not only turning a blind eye to endangerment of the children under his protection, he's actually, in my opinion, aiding and abetting it. And so what happens when he's given the authority to run the most powerful country in the whole nation? Is he going to protect your family? Is he going to protect our nation? Is he going to look the other way? I think we already know the answer to that question. The other reason that I think we need to be alarmed about this is that it's not just the Bidens who are compromised. Because think about this, and Praying Medic has been hinting at this as well. If we are seeing a laptop that belonged to Joe Biden's son, and we're seeing corruption from that family, knowing what we know about the Democrats, knowing what we know, for example, about the fact that that Dianne Feinstein had a Chinese driver who turned out to be a Chinese spy working for the Chinese Communist Party, that she had that person in her employ all this time. Knowing what we know about the connections between, for example, Nancy Pelosi and her son and the Ukrainians, John Kerry and his stepson and the Ukrainians and the Chinese and the deals they did together. It's so important to understand that these people they're all tied together. They're all connected. The media, the leftist politicians, all of these individuals are connected and tied together. So it is not at all unreasonable to expect that you will see more of this type of thing come out. Romney, thank you. So what do I mean by this? So when you think about the fact that we have this laptop, let's think about this, because there's Hillary's emails, there's Hillary's server, there's Hillary's Blackberries, there is the Biden laptop, there is the Wiener laptop, there are WikiLeaks documents. Do you see where I'm going with this? We have these devices and we know about them. But what about the ones we haven't been told about yet? You know? And one of the reasons that these people want to get in power again is because they've all been protecting each other. And the thing that I find the most sickening is that they're the ones who lecture us all the time about the children on the border, right? The kids, the children being separated from their parents, kids in cages, on and on and on and on. They're lecturing us all the time. And it turns out that we have a candidate for president of the United States who is more than likely not only protecting and covering up, but actually actively engaging in an incestuous child abuse endangerment within his own family, right? This is not going away. And so think about this. If they get in office, just like when Hillary, think about when Hillary lost, there were so many things that came out that they never thought would be exposed. And they've spent the last 4 years trying to unseat a duly elected president so that they could put all of this stuff back into the memory hole. Right? Think about that. They want to unwind the clock on everything that happened over the last 4 years, all the things that Trump exposed, all the things that Rudy Giuliani has exposed, all the things that have been drained already. They want to pull the curtain and go back to life the way they had it before. They want to reinstate the deep state. They want everything to go back to the way it was before. And so that's another reason that we can't let this happen. I mean, you really have to vote. Like, not only your life depends on it, but the people that they've hurt. They've hurt so many people. I mean, it's crazy. It's disgusting. It's horrible. And they've been protected because they protect each other. The media is protecting them. It's like this horrible incestuous club where everybody protects each other and everybody pats each other on the back and perpetuates this criminal behavior. And it's so many levels of criminality that you can't even begin to unpack it. So I think it's important, as we look at this situation, that we just continue to stay in prayer about this. And I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know if if Joe is going to be taken off the ticket, or I don't know how that's going to happen. Now, there's one theory about Kamala and about the Democrats. There's one theory is that the Democrat Party, like, they haven't denied this. Nobody's come out. Like, have you noticed the head of the DNC hasn't come out and said, we categorically deny even the existence of this laptop. I mean, they've tried to blame it on Russian disinformation, but they haven't denied it. And there's one theory that they actually don't want to deny it because they want to use it. They want to use it to take out Biden themselves and install Kamala as president. So let's assume that they did get him elected. They got across the finish line with him. Then the Democrats themselves would use it to force him out quietly. I mean, that's kind of a viable theory, because we already know Kamala has already signaled that she is thinking of herself as the president, that she's already let it slip at least once, that she's thinking about, the Harris-Biden presidency. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, somebody said the normies are not knowing what's going on. I mean, that's true. It's true. They really don't. But the main thing right now is to just make sure that everybody gets out and votes for Trump. And one of the things that I think is really turning people around. I'm going to shift directions here for a minute. And that is that I think I think more and more normies are waking up because of the way they're being treated in their own states and communities. And, every single day we're seeing more evidence of tyranny in Democrat-run states, even some of the Republican-run places. It's like, we agreed back in March to 15 days to slow the spread and to flatten the curve of the virus. But it's so weird because we're in like day 215. So 200 days beyond that whole thing. Here we are. And we have states that are just now issuing mask mandates. We have the governor of California telling people how they can do Thanksgiving, how many people they can have at the table, how many, almost down to how many bites of food you can take between wearing your mask. I mean, this is insane. So these people are dictating, literally dictating every part of people's lives. Spain has just announced lockdown measures going into next year. And so, this isn't going to change. It's going to get way worse if Joe Biden gets in. He's already said that he would do another lockdown. He's already said that he would do a mask mandate. And so, guys, I think you probably have already figured this out. But this is something that I think you need to tell your normie friends, is that if you're in one of these areas, they're not going to come out and tell you, okay, everybody take off the mask, because they know that they can get away with it. I mean, they're winning. They're winning this ridiculous control thing. And I get weary of people who tell me that it's just a mask, because the governor of Pennsylvania tweeted out today a meme, and it says, no mask, no service. And so based on the assumption that somebody is a carrier of disease, they are refused service. People can't go and buy food to feed their family from a grocery store because they're not wearing a mask, because they are not complying with a medical mandate that is placed on them by somebody who is not their doctor without informed consent. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm just going to keep telling you, it's time to stop complying. They're not going to come out and tell you, oh, hey guys, guess what? It's all better now. You can stop wearing the mask. Nobody's going to do that. My state in Virginia, the deadline was supposed to be October 1st. Nothing's changed. Same thing with my county. And now the county schools are revoking the teacher's ability to give students a mask break because they're afraid that the kids, that some teachers won't give enough mask breaks, and that those teachers will be seen as the mean teachers when other teachers are giving mask breaks. I wish I could make this up. I wish I were making this up. I'm not. So, I've been advocating, nonstop about this. You have to stand up. Walk in a store without a mask. Don't even wear it to get in the store. You have to start doing this in numbers. Do it en masse. I'm tired of being the only one in the store who doesn't have a mask on. It's got to stop. You have to take back your God-given right to be free. It is insane. It's crazy, Why am I the only one in a store of 100 people not wearing a mask? Why am I the only one who's calling Costco to tell them that they're violating my rights when their door person accosts me and my dad on the way into the store to tell us we have to put a mask on? I don't know what it's going to take. Yeah. You got to stop. You got to take the mask off. I hate to say this. I said it in the very beginning, and that is that in the very beginning, I said, this is way beyond a health issue. It is your government dictating to you what to wear, dictating a face covering. That's not okay. It's not okay. I feel like we need to start staging massive walk-ins with no masks. We're staging these rallies. We're staging the Trump rallies, the car rallies, the boat parades. I really think that we need to stage massive mask-free protests. Yeah, if it causes you anxiety to go somewhere without a mask, keep doing it. Keep going, because if it's causing you that much anxiety, you're going to have to work through it. Because what's going to happen when they tell you that you have to have a certificate of vaccination to go buy food, or a certificate of immunity from the virus? I'm just saying. And here's the thing. I know plenty of people. I know plenty of people who are not Trump supporters, who are not in agreement about the mask. It's not just conservatives. Here's the thing. How do you go maskless in super liberal areas? That's a good question. I think that you need to get a group of people to go in, because what are they going to do? Are they going to arrest you all? That's what I'm saying. Here's the point. It isn't just about what you're putting on your face. The point is that the government is mandating what you do and how you act. They're taking away your God-given rights. And the only way that the government is allowed to do that is if you allow it. This is why I have such a strong issue with it. It's a big problem. I'm just looking at your comments here. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You can argue with people who work at these stores about the efficacy of masks or about anything of that. I don't even think that's an issue. I think the issue is that you're being forced by your government, who doesn't have any authority to force you to give up your rights in this area. This is just the tip of the iceberg. No one has tried to find me. No. Yeah. So anyway, let me move on to the next topic here. I talked about the campaign. I think that was the main thing I wanted to talk about today. Thank you guys for hanging in with me on the chat today. I'm trying to get used to the format. I am doing a multi-stream. Some of the businesses do get fined, yeah. So here's what I suggest. I suggest that you start with the bigger places. Like Lowe's, where I live, is really not that bad. Costco is a good example. Get a whole bunch of people to go to Costco with you, because it actually says on the Costco corporate website that people who can't wear masks shouldn't have to. And then another example is, and so if you do that, if you go into Costco with a group of people and somebody says something, you can just politely say, we're not able to wear the mask. Now, technically, you are not required to give a reason why you can't wear it. They have cops at my church to spy on us. I would change churches. If your church is putting people in charge of spying on people, I mean, we're talking Nazi Germany level behavior. That's really disturbing. And here's the thing. I'm not saying don't wear a mask if you feel like you want to. What I'm saying is that nobody should be told that they have to wear a mask. This is about your civil rights. This is about your constitutional rights. This is about your medical rights. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not judging a person. If you want to wear a mask, I don't care. If you want to go out in public with half your face covered, restricting your breathing, if you feel like it's going to help you, that's up to you. That's between you and your doctor, really. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the government forcing people to wear masks. Okay, so Mama Bird said that she's going to be organizing this in her area, Eugene, Oregon. Yeah, good for you. I mean, get 20 people or more. Don't bring your children, guys. Don't get your children in a situation where they might be in danger. I just want to give that caveat, okay? You bring your able-bodied adults to walk into a store without masks. Don't damage anything. Don't act like Antifa or Black Lives Matter. Just go about your business. That's what I recommend. I think we should do it. Yeah. The Great American Mask Out. It is all about control. I mean, guys, if it's not obvious at this point that this is about controlling you, I don't know what to tell you. There's no reason to be in this situation. Right now we're having a case demic. It's not a pandemic. It's a lot of cases being reported. The death rate has gone down like over 70%. The fatality rate has gone down over 70%. Yeah, there are mask bullies out there. I get it. And I've been confronted by them. And you know what I said? I said, mind your own business. It's none of your business what I do with my body. It's none of your business what I do with my body. And then if somebody says, well, you could be hurting other people. And then I would say, well, tell that to the baby who doesn't get to live when women choose abortion. My body, my choice. It's not just hurting them, it's killing them. I'm just saying, don't let people bully you. Because if somebody can bully you into wearing this thing on your face, what happens when it gets really serious? It's beyond a mask. It's never just a mask, right? It's never just a mask. That's not what it's about. Okay, so I didn't want to go too far down that rabbit trail, but I just wanted to tell you guys that I don't see this changing anytime soon. I don't see them just, I don't see my governor coming out and saying, hey, everybody, as of November 1st, everybody's going to take off the mask. They're already predicting a rise in cases in my state. And they are not, and they're not even bothering. They're not even pretending to balance that with the they're not even trying to balance that with the truth, which is that 97% of those people recover, and most of them don't even get treatment. They don't get hospitalized. That's the part they're not saying. They're just trying to terrify everybody into complying. I mean, the fear is beyond what you could even imagine. Yeah. I would like to see the president come out at some point too and say, hey, no more mask mandates. I mean, that would be awesome. I just don't know. At this point, he's not going to do it right now. I can tell you that. Yeah, it's all very political, right? Is there anything I missed here? I talked to you guys about the campaign. I told you a little bit about my streaming. Okay, so I'm multi-streaming right now. I'm streaming onto Facebook. You should be able to watch me on Mary Grace Media over there, YouTube, Mary Grace Media, and Periscope. And then I should be on CloutHub. There's something wrong with that link. It's just not going live. And so at some point I will have that up for you. I will be streaming live to CloutHub, which means that once I get my show going on CloutHub, you will be able to watch directly through my website, which is marygracemedia.com. Now, if you like the content that I provide, if you want to partner with me in bringing you more good content, and also in being able to upgrade my equipment and pay for all of the streaming services and web hosting and the things that I do, please partner with me on my website. It's marygracemedia.com, and then you click on support. And you can do a one-time contribution. You can do a monthly pledge. Some of you do that. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate the one-time contributions as well. All of that goes toward the work that I do for Mary Grace Media, including the studio that I'm going to build. It looks like I'm going to be doing my own drywall because I can't get anybody to do it. Are we live here? Am I back? Am I back? That was Comcast. Yeah, that was Comcast. Okay, here we are. I know. Everything just froze. That was my internet. It was an issue with Comcast. We've been having issues since yesterday. So, and I was hardwired to the Ethernet for my stream and it still went down. Yeah, we pay so much for Comcast. Crazy. Okay, so you're back. Yeah, I was frozen everywhere because my internet went down. So I was trying to tell everybody that I'm going to be, I was trying to tell everybody about supporting the show. So thank you, Comcast. There's another example. We're overpaying for internet. And here's what happens when I start talking about supporting the show. I don't know how to solve that problem, but I do expect more outages as we get close to the time of the election, because they're trying to put up a firewall for getting good information out. One thing I did want to say is that tonight, the new Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett will be sworn in, and Justice Clarence Thomas is going to swear her in, which I think is perfect. So as of 8 o'clock tonight, we will have our 9th Supreme Court Justice, the most pro-life Supreme Court Justice ever to be appointed to the bench. And that is a huge victory for the president. There's a good chance that she will be weighing in on the outcome of the election, especially if the Democrats try to delay the count. And that's something that they're going to probably do. So just keep her in your prayers. Keep all of the people in the Supreme Court, all of the police who work at the Supreme Court. I was actually there last night outside of the Supreme Court, and they have the whole thing. They have fences up around the whole Supreme Court. People can't even go up the stairs right now to get to the Supreme Court. It's all cordoned off because of what happened with Kavanaugh. So they're way more prepared this time. But, pray for these officers, because you know how the left is. They're incredibly violent. And they don't want this, because as we've seen just from the proof that we have so far of how Joe Biden treats his own family and the children in his own family, they don't have a reverence for life. They are so invested in harming and killing your children. They are the anti-life party. It's really sad, very sad. Yeah, so I was in DC yesterday. I was in DC yesterday for the Let Us Worship event. Oh, I got a t-shirt too. Let me show you guys that. Look, a sweatshirt. I got my sweatshirt. Look. What do you think? Got that? That was with Sean Foyt. It was fantastic. Yeah, I did a live stream from there last night, a couple of live streams. I met up with Andrea Joy and Larry Norris and Lisa Perna. That was really cool. Got to meet up with them, and then I got to meet up with some other friends from California, and that was really nice. Oh, that reminds me, I was going to tell you that my friends from California were the ones that were telling me that that California, they really feel like California is going to go blue, and they're up in Vacaville, which is north of San Francisco. And they said that this whole Thanksgiving thing with Gavin Newsom is is just the last straw. That they know people who are Democrats who are just completely done, that are completely disgusted. Did I say blue? I meant red. That California is going to go red, and so yeah, they said they really do feel like there's a good chance. Yeah, I don't know why I said blue. I don't know why I said that. California, it's been blue for so long, it's going to go red. I actually called it in 2018, 2 years ago. I said that California was going to go for President Trump. So keep them in prayers. I feel like I know you guys are correcting me. Give me a break. It was a slip of the tongue. Yeah, I really wish that Virginia was going to go red. It's so sad when I look at the map of the potential states that could flip, and all of the people running the stats still have Virginia as blue. It's just so sad. California was not red 2 years ago. Yeah, it is. It was blue. It went blue. I mean, there's spontaneous parades all over, cropping up all over California. Boat parades, walking parades. Yeah, California used to be red. I mean, they voted for Ronald Reagan. That's where Ronald Reagan came from. So and the Democrats have basically just destroyed the whole state. I mean, they've driven it into the ground. Imagine a state where you have rolling blackouts and you can't water your lawn or wash your car, and you have to take like one shower a week. It's just like, that's how they do things in third world countries, you guys. That's how Puerto Rico is. I mean, people keep water in cisterns on their roof in Puerto Rico because they know that the state is going to turn off the water. Right? That's how California is now. They've gone third world. It's really bad. Yeah. So, all right. There was something I was going to say. I was talking about supporting the show. That's what I was talking about. When I read your chat, I get a little distracted. I was talking about supporting the show. So you can support the show by going to my website, marygracemedia.com, and clicking on support. The other way that you can support the show is by buying superfoods. And that is a good thing for you and for me, because I get a little kickback when you do that, and then you get healthier. And here's something that we've been talking about a lot, is getting healthier. One of the things that everybody needs to do is to make sure that your immune system is in tip-top shape, especially going into winter, not just because of COVID, but because flu season, colds, whatever. And so when you put organic superfoods into your body, you're giving your body a head start and an advantage in keeping your immune system up. Some people take a lot of vitamins, some people take a lot of supplements. One of the things that I love about the superfoods is that you can cut back on a lot of those types of things because you're actually getting those nutrients through your food, and you're not having to, pop a bunch of pills to try to get your extra vitamins. A lot of those things are synthetic anyway. So if you want to get superfoods from me, you can write to me, info@marygracemedia.com, and you can get a voucher for $100 or more off of your first month's order, which is a great deal. It's a great savings. I have a lot of you who have been on the superfoods. I want to encourage you, if you've already been on the superfoods and you took a break and you didn't reorder, I do want to encourage you to place another order going into the holidays so that you can keep yourself in optimal health. That's important to do that. And also remember, as we get into the holidays, shipping times may be affected also, just because a lot more people are going to be shopping by mail, shopping online. And so just make sure that you give yourself time. I have a lot of people right now who are starting their holiday transformations. I'm saying holiday because I'm including Thanksgiving as well. But they're starting their transformations because they don't want to just fill up their body with all of those crazy foods that you eat during the holidays, all the sweets, the cakes, the pies, that kind of thing. Getting your body into a really good regimen with the superfoods is going to help you create that balance. And it's going to help you have a stronger immune system. Because let's face it, a lot of people are susceptible to the flu and other sickness. Okay, where can you find a mail-in address to send a check? That's a good question. Luann says she can't be without the superfoods now, right? I know. I love my superfoods. I don't know what I did before I had it. Okay, so Samson, send me an email, info@marygracemedia.com, and I will give you the PO box to do that. I guess I should put that on the website, shouldn't I? Yeah. You do want to fill up on all those goodies. Some people do, but it's your choice, because we're stewards of our own bodies. I like those things too, but you pay now or you pay later. Investing in your health is a really important thing to do. And as a Christian, we're actually given a mandate to be good stewards of the body that we're given. So that's just something to think about. I'm not trying to lecture you, but you can. Yeah, Delia said she can balance the occasional bad eating with the good. That's what I'm saying. When your body has a good set point, body has a good set point, then when you do eat the occasional sweets or indulgences, then it's not going to throw you off kilter, because you invest in your health now or you pay the doctor later. That's just the way it works. Okay. Okay. So somebody just said, is there a starter package? Yes. Yeah, you can write to me about that. Yeah. Yeah, Wayne, if you had a liver transplant, you might actually really like the superfoods, because it's extremely easy on your liver. I did block that person. I don't know how they got in here. I'm watching the chat on the stream, and I'm sometimes I'm missing when these trolls come in. It's a little bit different. I'm still trying to figure this out. So apologize for that. I'm usually better at insta blocking. And I am going to get my moderators set up on my other channels as well. Okay, so I think that's about it. I think that I will be back tomorrow. I know I will be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 Eastern. And so now you can watch me on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and hopefully I'll have CloutHub up soon. Just make sure that you set your alarm, set your notifications, and when you go to CloutHub, you can subscribe and you can put your email address in, and you can get an email notification as soon as I go live. So that works. And if you subscribe on Periscope and Twitter and you turn on your notifications, you'll get a notification as soon as I go live as well. So it's kind of nice. Yeah. Somebody said, Rick, let's see, Rick, you had a procedure. Yeah, message me and get your voucher. Yeah. So don't wait. I mean, this is a perfect time to get into a reset. Don't wait until the first of the year when everybody's thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get healthy. My kitten is doing fine. Thank you for asking. You subscribed on CloutHub? Awesome. Now I see the chat coming in. It's exciting, isn't it, to be working on all these, to be live on all these platforms. I'll remember to put in the right title tomorrow. Just trying to figure it all out. Okay. You have a voucher. Rick, yeah, you can still use your voucher. Yeah. If you have any questions or if you have any problems setting up your account, just email me. And if necessary, I'll get on the phone with you. Somebody actually emailed me and said that they tried to set up an account and they couldn't get it to work. And I replied to your email, but it didn't go through. It got rejected. So if that was you, maybe try sending me a message on Facebook and see if you can get through that way. I don't usually do messages on Facebook, but if for some reason that was you, you said that you were technically challenged and you were having a hard time setting up the account, and I tried to reply and it got rejected. The email got rejected. Somebody said you can't get CloutHub. I don't know why. It's an app. You can sign up for CloutHub on your browser. You don't even have to get the app. You can just go to cloudhub.com. A lot of good content providers are coming up on CloutHub. Just looking at you guys. The store doesn't work on some browsers. Oh, the superfood store? That could be. Yeah. I mean, I think it has to do also with some people's cookies on your browser. Danielle, you should write to them, write to their customer support. Write to me if you still have trouble, and I'll send their information for you. Okay. I'm not on DLive right now. CloutHub doesn't work in Norway. Yeah, so you can watch through my website on CloutHub. As soon as I get that CloutHub link working through my multi-stream here, you'll be able to watch directly on my website. Okay. But yeah, you're right. It's not available right now in Norway. Yeah. So Delia, just try writing to their customer support. It is a new company and they're growing. So just be patient with them. And if you still can't get it, did you try writing to their customer support? You also might need to clear your browser. Which browser works best for Superfoods? I've been able to use Safari and Chrome, but again, sometimes, guys, you need to go to your history and clear your web history because you get your computer has cookies on it. I'm not a technical person. I'm just telling you that when things get screwed up and it looks like you're locked out of things, sometimes it's just because there's cookies, and so you need to go to history and clear browser. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. All right. Now I'm getting to be a tech support person and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to say goodbye. Don't forget to support the show, info@marygracemedia.com. Click on support and then also buy the superfoods because it's a win-win for everybody. And I will be back tomorrow at 5 Eastern. Have a great evening, everybody. Clear your cache. There you go. Good night, everybody.